And Joe Rogan says it's just like a rebellion thing. JD Vance claims it's for the TikTok views and the clicks, guys. This is like the insanity of having people that are so far removed from a situation that should only involve a woman and her doctor. This shouldn't be a question as to who gets to make that decision. It shouldn't be JD Vance. It shouldn't be Joe Rogan. It shouldn't be Donald Trump. It shouldn't be the state of Texas. It should be a woman and her doctor. Recently, JD Vance has been doing what JD Vance does, and that is sane washing Donald Trump. And he just went on the Joe Rogan podcast and cleaned up all the messes that he possibly could. There is no job for JD Vance that is too big or too small. And this job was quite the job because he spent quite a bit of the Joe Rogan podcast sane washing all the different elements of who Donald Trump is. I mean, JD Vance has a full-time job, whether it's, going and dealing with the comments made by Tony Hinchcliffe at the MSG and sane washing a bunch of like racist rhetoric, or if it's, sane washing the different things that Donald Trump has said or did. But this got a little bit into the weird area, and, JD Vance, it's a hard job to keep up with all the craziness that MAGA wants you to believe and to espouse and keep it clean. And JD Vance decided he was going to go on Joe Rogan's podcast and he was going to talk about, well, one of the harder topics to talk about, and that is being pro-choice or pro-life. They had what I would consider not a bad conversation. There was a lot of hedging around whether or not, the abortions were being had late term. JD Vance made some, comments about late term abortions and in one way framed them as though they are happening and for reasons that are elective and more often than they should be. Rogan did push back a little bit on JD Vance, not a lot, as Rogan has gotten away from any type of real pushback on conservatives. They started talking about whether or not, it's a religious reason or not that most people believe the pro-life stance. And, once again, JD Vance just didn't really answer the question as far as, why, people on the pro-life side can't, allow the pro-choice people to just like live their own lives and women to have their own rights, and Rogan did push back a little bit saying that, a lot of people out there just want women to have the right to do what they want to do with their body. And JD Vance, he went to a strange place. He chose to go to women on TikTok are celebrating abortions. So I thought I'd play this clip for you, let you guys get your opinion on this subject, and yeah, let's play it, and then let's see what you think.
And I do think that there's something that is really weird about this whole debate, where thank God, to be clear, this is not true of the gross majority of our pro-choice citizens, but you do sometimes see people like they'll go on TikTok and they'll celebrate having an abortion.
Yeah,
like I've known many women, usually when I was younger, who chose to have abortions because they felt like they didn't have any other options. And, I don't judge them. I think that a lot of them just felt like they were completely trapped, and they made the decision that was ultimately right for them. Again, my argument is,
that's the crazy thing about saying something like women are going on TikTok and celebrating that they're having abortions. Having an abortion is, for a woman, probably the most difficult decision they will ever make in their entire life. It's a decision that comes with trauma. It comes with regret. It comes with, feelings of depression. And it's just one of these things that I don't really think that people like JD Vance or Donald Trump or Ted Cruz or any of his conservative buddies or his religious friends can really get to understand in a way that makes sense. Because how could you possibly say to yourself that a woman is doing this in a way that she wants to celebrate it on social media and make it a TikTok. It's absolutely insane to me.
We need to try to gain those women's trust back, because clearly the Republican Party on this issue has lost a lot of trust. But none of them
He's
were
not
like
wrong there.
baking birthday cakes and posting about it afterwards.
Right.
They recognize that this is a medical procedure, and this is, something that they felt they had to do.
Baking birthday cakes. There's just this is just the insanity that the right believes and wants you to believe that the left is doing. They want you to believe that the left doesn't care about the sanctity of life. They want you to believe that people out there that are on the left that care about people having equal rights and care about social safety nets and care about taking care of homeless people, that those people, they hate life. They don't care. They're just out there having promiscuous sex because they're a bunch of deviants that don't care about God's will. And it's insane to think that this is the way that people on the right think about pro-choice people. Like, I'm pro-choice. That doesn't mean that I'm pro-abortion. That doesn't mean that I would want to have my wife or have an abortion, or that I would encourage my daughter to have one. It would be a case in which it would be the last possible thing that we would want to do, and it would only happen if it was completely necessary. But it's just crazy to think that conservatives as a whole seem to think that the left is just doing this for fun, for clicks and views.
But celebrating something like that is just bizarre to me. And I'm much more comfortable with the people who say safe, legal, rare than I am with the people who say let's shout our abortion from the rooftops.
Well, it's just this rebellion thing, and it's also rebellion, right. Like the concept. And
it's a rebellion thing. There's nothing says we know nothing about what we're talking about, like Joe Rogan and JD Vance talking about women making decisions for their own body. Like the hardest decision they'll ever make in their life. And Joe Rogan says it's just like a rebellion thing. JD Vance claims it's for the TikTok views and the clicks, guys. This is like the insanity of having people that are so far removed from a situation that should only involve a woman and her doctor. This shouldn't be a question as to who gets to make that decision. It shouldn't be JD Vance. It shouldn't be Joe Rogan. It shouldn't be Donald Trump. It shouldn't be the state of Texas. It should be a woman and her doctor.
in the zeitgeist is that abortion had always been, Roe v. Wade had always been the law of the land, and then all of a sudden that was taken away, and you have these religious men who are trying to dictate what women can and can't do with their bodies.
Yeah. No, look, I mean, again, I understand that. I understand the pushback against that, but I think you can go, like with so many other issues, you can go way too far about it, and it becomes trying to celebrate something that at the very best, if you grant, I think, every argument of the pro-choice side, it is a neutral thing, not something to be celebrated.
I think there's very few people that are celebrating, though. It's
I agree.
just the extreme
100%
weirdos,
agree.
the TikTok
well, but it's like
people.
it's like everything,
Yeah,
right? Where
right.
And I try, this is something that is dangerous about social media, is the danger of social media with me is not, to me, that I live in my own echo chamber and just have views reinforced. The danger is that I'm only exposed to the crazy people on the other side,
Right.
who make it easier for me to adopt my own worldview, because I'm saying, oh, it's just people celebrating, when in reality, like you said, most American women, even those who are pro-choice, are not celebrating this thing.
I think that's one of the insidious things about the social media algorithm, is that it highlights things that people engage with.
The more outrageous.
Which is more outrageous, more things that they find reprehensible. They see.
And the very person that they want to put in charge of multiple portions of our government owns the social media platform that does this the worst, that exposes people to the worst possible misinformation and that is Elon Musk and his X platform. It's absolutely insane, the hypocrisy of these people sitting down and talking about this. Joe Rogan is friends with Elon Musk. JD Vance is friends with Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a part of Donald Trump's campaign and a huge contributor to it. He is at his rallies. He is giving speeches. It's insane, the amount of hypocrisy that you get from Joe Rogan, JD Vance, and people that want you to believe that there are women out there celebrating having abortions. All right, guys. You guys let me know what you think. I thought that was insane to hear. Tell me what you think in the comments. And until next time, love you guys. Appreciate you guys. See you next time.